Kelly Orchard's podcast for successful badassery. This is badass territory, no sniveling. Turn up your energy with Mustang Monday. Here once again in the driver's seat is Kelly Orchard.
You need to come forward or no one's going to see you.
I can see me.
Yeah, but get over here. It's like, I'm going to start this way too.
It's a good thing we didn't get Bill in here too.
Because
he's tall.
It would not have happened.
Yeah.
Well, this is a fun one. Hey everybody, I'm Kelly Orchard, the Badass Certifier, and this is Mustang Monday, Badass Tips from the Street. And I invited, this is George Mills from A Better Look
Home Inspection,
and Ben Dieterich from
Lofts of Benjamin Dieterich.
We are here today to talk about we're going to do a badass tip. I invited George and Ben a while ago to, and this is a new rhyme that we have going, to hop in the seat and give a badass tip from the street. And cool. George and I were just having a conversation about customer service, and so we'll start there and we'll see where this goes. How's that?
Very good.
All right. So I want to know from you. Okay, so you do home inspections.
Correct.
And you're also on the board of a local chamber of commerce.
I am the current chairman of the board for the Menifee Valley Chamber of Commerce.
And you're on that same chamber board, right?
I'm the vice chair of the Menifee Valley Chamber of Commerce.
So you guys are like frickin' frack of Menifee.
I told George we do pretty much everything.
So you guys, so you might as well do this together too.
Right.
Got it. Okay. So now we want to talk about customer service. So.
Well, customer service is critical. You know, we're all in service industries, and it really doesn't matter what business you're in. We all have customers, and you know, a lot of times we think that you own a business, you can do what you want, but really, just because you own a business, you still have clients that are paying your bill. And so, one thing that we all believe in and we all hear all the time is the customer is always right. Well, that's not necessarily true. And sometimes it started with you talking about a service industry that your son's a part of. How mean some customers can actually be to, say, wait help or those types of things. And so the customer is not always right, but they are still the customer.
Yeah.
And I think that's forgotten sometimes.
Yes, I agree. And what we were discussing, and I want to kind of clarify, is we were all at a lunch together, and the waiting to get our tickets was pretty long, but it didn't have anything to do, it wasn't the restaurant's fault. A lot of us came in at one time, and we're all business people, and we all want to leave at the same time. And getting the tickets was just cumbersome. There was like a funnel clog that went on, and so we were just talking about what we needed to get done. And then it was like, customers always right. And I was sharing with him, because my son he's a kitchen manager at a major restaurant, and he has shared the issues that people, even though they're not right necessarily, you still treat them well. Right. You know, but how else do you combat that? You know, with the field that you're in, and even you, gosh, with you, we'll get to you in a second.
Well, I think for me, it's by being a small business and owning my own business, I can pick and choose who I work
for.
That's
exactly what I was going to say.
And so we have just recently told a client that we've done a lot of work for in the past, who's very difficult to work for, please don't call us anymore. It's not worth the grief. And even though, she put bread on my table, sometimes it wouldn't hurt me to miss a meal. Yeah. And so this particular person, we just said, hey, I think it's better that we part ways. It is a customer service industry, and it is difficult at times, but you still have that mutual respect that we try to have towards our customers and towards our real estate agents that we work with. And but it sometimes you just have to say, I'm not going to let you treat me like that.
Good, yeah. Have that confidence and that self-esteem to stand up for yourself and say, no, that's not going to happen. Yeah. I know I've had to do that in different capacities as well, and it's not easy to do. It really isn't, because you think that there might be repeat business if you can just train this customer to treat you right. So what about you? I want to hear from you about this whole customer service thing.
I just want to repeat on what George said. That was exactly my thought. Is one of the biggest benefits of being a business owner is the fact that you don't have to work for everybody.
Right. You can fire a client.
You can fire a client if need be. I mean, that's usually few and far between, but sometimes it reaches that point, as George pointed out, where you just need to do that. I think the biggest thing probably is being authentic, being empathetic, understanding what's going on, but some people, you just can't work with, right? So knowing that, maybe there's somebody else that will work better with them, and send them on their way, because life's just too short to do that, to deal with that.
You know, it's like, I don't know how much you guys know about my previous world, but I've got, 40-year background in radio. And so one of the greatest things that we would always tell listeners who would call up and complain about a song is, you can always change the station. It's like, I'm sorry if you don't like our music, but you don't have to listen to it. And I think it's that way with any kind of business. If you don't like doing business with them, or if you're going to be a difficult client, maybe it's time for you to take your business elsewhere.
Right.
Right. I mean, it goes both ways. It's like, we want to do good customer service, all of us do, in the fields that we're in, but we also want good customers. So how about you go be a good customer?
And I've been on both sides of that.
Me
I
too.
remember years ago, I had a large pool company, and I thought I was really the cat's meow, and I made a lot of money, and I made a lot of deposits. And I remember a successful bank manager. So I just remember really thinking I had arrived and I was successful and I was making large deposits into this bank. And I think my youth and my arrogance, I went in and thought I was more than I was. And this particular bank manager told me, there are other banks. And that was really my first taste of being
it's good to be so busy that
reminded,
you get a phone call and you don't even stop and you're recording, and he's like, I'm just gonna answer my call. Hello, yeah, we're live right now, George. and,
we're
not really,
well, that's a client I am going to call back, and
because we love that customer.
Yeah, that's
they
right.
Call when they say they're gonna call.
And so but it works both ways.
It does. And I think the lesson that you're talking about, you learned a lesson there.
Right.
When that bank said, there are other places that you can go to deposit your money. I think we can all say that in our youth we were a little guilty of bad business practices or not knowing. I think that's part of the leadership challenge, is you grow through it. That's kind of what I do, is promote the perpetual growth.
It's a nice reality check.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we all need that now and then. Even at my age today, it's still nice to have somebody who can say, hey, you're out of line here.
Yeah.
And luckily I've surrounded myself with some good people, and I've given permission to people to call me on certain things and to say, you know what, we like what you're doing here, but you might want to look at these areas of your life or your business or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think we all need mentors, and we all need that accountability.
Yeah, we all need to invest in our personal and professional growth, for
Absolutely.
sure. And that's what I do. I'm like the person you invest with. But when we were talking about doing this, there was the whole, like, I'm the badass, you're the
smart ass,
and you're the, what is he? He wasn't there.
I don't think I was the dumbass.
Is that what it was? We already named him because he wasn't there, right?
Yeah, I don't know which way. There's a whole bunch of them.
There's a whole bunch of asses.
You got lazy ass, you've got dumb ass, smart ass.
Yeah, but I'm the badass. I'm the official badass.
The only one.
The only one who can say that.
Who is licensed to be
yes,
badass.
I am licensed. I created the whole program of Licensed to be Badass.
I love it.
Yeah. So what else were we going to talk about? Because I know I kind of threw you under the bus with saying I want to talk about customer service. You guys must have had ideas.
Well, I think Ben and I, being part of the Chamber of Menifee and seeing the turnaround up there and the growth, not only in the city of Menifee, but the growth of the Chamber, I know both of us are real excited about that. There's so much positive going on just within the Chamber itself.
Well, tell me more. So tell me how big, the Mustang Monday videos goes out to all my social media, and they're not all just people, local community. So when we're talking about the city of Murrieta, or city of Menifee, how large of a community is it? What's the population?
I think we're just over 90,000 people now.
Okay.
I think in the next 2 to 3 years, we're slated to be like 110,000.
So when you talk about becoming involved with the Chamber of Commerce as a business person, whether you're an owner or you're just an employee, what would you guys say is your biggest benefit?
I think learning how to network is the biggest benefit. When I owned a big pool company, chambers would call me and they say, we want you to come in, and based on the size of your business is how most people price out the chamber. And I said, well, let me get this straight. I'm going to give you $500 and you're going to give me a plaque that I can buy for $10. I don't really see the trade-off here. And it wasn't until the turnaround of the economy in 2008, and I had to learn to network and do different things, that I really saw the value of a chamber. it's not a dollar amount you put in it, and it's directly proportionate to you get out of it what you put into it.
Yeah.
And once I got plugged in and involved in the Murrieta Chamber is really where I started.
Yeah.
And I've been a member there for 7 years, and up into Menifee. Now I see the value of networking and how it works, and it's much more than just, hey, you need a plumber, here's his name and number. It's building friendships, relationships. Ben's daughter Cammie is really one of the best friends of my granddaughter. We're finding how that
no wonder you guys are freaking frags.
six degrees of separation really does exist.
Yeah.
And so but that's the value of the chamber, is really getting your business out there. But it's really more, I have a motto, and I stole it from Sam Parker, who is inspire.com or whatever his thing is. But I'm really here to make good things happen for other people. And once I embrace that, just the laws of the world is what goes around comes around.
Yeah, karma.
And if you're doing good things out there for people, it's not about going to a chamber mixer and going, okay, what can I get out of this? It's about what you can get and give to it more than get.
Well, I learned, it's like I've been involved in different communities and had to basically reestablish myself multiple times just because of moves or career change or whatever. Right. And I learned early on, way back in my 20s, actually my teens, the benefits of being involved in your community, whether it's the chamber or it's a Rotary Club or it's a church group or whatever. Because
that gets you involved.
It gets you involved. The socialization, because come on, after you get out of college or high school, it's really hard to make friends.
Sure.
So when you're new in a community, the best place to go is join something.
Right.
And so the benefits of networking are definitely, it's like not even just to build your business, but just to get yourself plugged in. So that when you need like upholstery, like I do here, it's like you know who to call.
You know who to call.
Exactly. It's like when you need your home inspected, you know who to call. When you have a legal question, you know somebody, and it's not a total stranger.
Right.
So not just a cold call.
Not just a cold
search
call
that anybody.
Yeah, because I think that likely you'd be answering my call before some stranger. Well, maybe not. Maybe,
Well, if you think of
the day, right?
if you think of things like Yelp.
Yeah.
Can you really trust a Yelp review? Yeah, maybe some, maybe not. But if somebody calls you and says, hey, I want to establish this trust. I bought a house and I'm doing this, this, and this, and you have a personal relationship with the attorney who does trust, say, yeah, you need to call this guy. I would much rather have that personal referral than a Yelp review or a Google, because I have some Yelp reviews right now. I don't even know who these people are. I don't think they're clients. And
that's the scary part.
Yeah, and so
anonymity of those online
of the keyboard.
reviews, right?
Yeah, and so I would much rather have somebody with a personal touch and say, hey, this is the guy I call.
Even if they charge a little more, huh? It's not always about the bargain. I mean, it's like I have a philosophy: you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
So if you're out there searching for a bargain, searching for the bottom basement of the barrel, that's the kind of service
that's
you
what
get.
You're going to get.
It's there if you want it.
Well, yeah, because they don't value themselves either.
Right.
Let me do a whole workshop on raise your rates. If you're any good.
Yeah. And when I first started, a gentleman gave me this advice: you're worth what you're worth. It's not. He was a realtor, and he says, I don't lower my commission level. This is the value I bring to it.
Yeah.
And he said, George, don't do it.
Yeah.
It's hard when you're hungry.
It is hard when you're hungry. It really is. There's no doubt.
It's important to learn that when you're hungry, though.
Well, my first sales training was honestly by my dad. It's like we had a family radio station, and he'd done real estate sales. He was a real estate broker at the time, so he knew the sales process.
Right.
So he was my first trainer. At the age of 15 or 16 in sales, and so I remember walking into places, and he would give the whole presentation or whatever, and they would say, how much is this going to cost? And he'd say, well, how much do you have? And that was the answer. It's like, how much you got? What do you got in your wallet right now? Let's do it. It was just that quick. So that's a really good thing. You're worth what you're worth. Right. So what do you think you're worth? How much do you have on you?
And I know what Ben brings to the table. I know what I bring to the table. You know what you bring to the table. And I just don't think if you believe in yourself, you can sell. You're really selling yourself. You're not selling your service. You're selling yourself.
Well, it is all about relationships. And like
Yeah.
you said, if you bring the authenticity and the empathy to what you do, no matter what it is, you're going to be successful because those people are going to be attracted to you. Getting back to the customer service again.
Yep.
Yeah, we tied that all together
We did.
nicely,
That's a nice
didn't
little
we?
loop, right?
Woo,
And so,
okay.
while I was in there for lunch, I got a call from a client. Hey, I need that person that cleans pools, and I need this. And so the relationship we built, he trusts me to refer him somebody over for his new home that he just closed escrow on.
Right.
And I like that.
Isn't that a great feeling? I think that's one of my favorite things to do, is to be able to connect people.
Right?
Yeah.
Right,
I love
definitely.
that,
I think
you
that's
know?
one of the
Yeah.
greatest benefits of being involved in the community.
I agree.
Is having those resources and being able to be a connector like that. Definitely.
Absolutely.
And people remember that.
Yeah, they do. They do, and they appreciate. It's like both on both ways. It's like I remember when somebody refers me, but I also when I refer somebody else and they thank me for referring them.
Right.
It's like I so appreciate that. I had a card it sent to me thanking me for a referral today and said I have more for you. This was a person who forgot that I'm also a licensed psychotherapist and thought was just only focused on the badass stuff. And when I told him I sent a client to him, he was like, "Why would she send a badass to me?" It's like, and then he had to realize, "Oh, you're a therapist.
Right.
I forgot about that."
Yeah.
So I was really appreciative that it's like, "Oh yeah, you're that too."
Well, I think that's another thing we forget in customer service is not forgetting to say thank you.
Yes.
You said a thank you card. I send out thank you cards. You can shoot a text, you can shoot an email, but there's nothing better
Than getting something
than
in the
a card
mail.
that somebody went out of their
true.
way.
Right.
No, we don't lick stamps anymore, but you still have to put a stamp on
You have
it.
to write the address
And,
on the envelope.
yeah.
I learned something that kids these days, like high school kids, they don't even know how to address an envelope. Because
Absolutely.
we don't do that
They
anymore.
don't do that anymore.
Well, my
Yeah.
first secretary put the stamp on the backside. So in her youth, she didn't know which way it went. So
Yeah, well, once upon a time, we used to have to wait until our favorite song came on the radio to hear it, too.
Yeah,
It's like getting back to getting like that. He's like, yeah, lots of things have changed. All right, well, I've got Ben and George. Thank you guys so much for
Thank you.
doing this
That
with
was
me. It was
great,
totally fun.
definitely.
We have a tagline that we say, and I don't know if you know it, so I'm just going to guide you through it. I swear I'm going to have to put a script here one of
Right,
these
right.
days. But it's like, so I am Kelly Orchard, the Badass Certifier, reminding you, and these guys are going to say it with me, to be bold,
be bold,
be brave,
be brave,
be confident.
be confident.
Say it with me. Be badass.
Badass.
Yeah.
The bus to Badassville is scheduled to come here for you. Pack your stuff.
Thanks for listening and getting one step closer to being licensed to be badass. Be sure to subscribe to continue on the bus to Badassville. Snag your Badass Habits ebook at licensedtobebadass.com. You can stay in the slow lane and get just enough tools for successful badassery, one podcast at a time. Or you can join the Badass Ambassador crew in the fast lane by checking your baggage with my Licensed to be Badass integrated program with videos, worksheets, and group coaching for motivation, mindset, and a fresh approach to living a fruitfully badass life.
Badass Attitudes, licensed here, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Be sure to subscribe and hop on the bus to Badassville.